Good morning. Welcome to a garage price update for 2023. I wanted to talk about where material prices are at this point, as well as some other contributing factors to what a price of a garage is. Let's go take a peek over here and just see where prices are right now. So I spared no expense on my artwork, of course. A two-car garage, 24 by 24. It's a single story, it's a ranch style, $26,975. What that includes is from including the concrete up, and everything on the exterior is finished with vinyl siding and metal roof. It does not include leveling the ground, getting it prepped for the concrete. So that's kind of the break point, because every building site is different. You never know if you're going to be on ledge or clay or sand or what's going to be there. So this, I can define this point. I can't define what happens prior to that, what the local land is. Also, some towns have different codes, so that varies slightly what is going on with the pricing. When I initially meet with somebody, depends on the town, but different towns have different requirements for permits. Some towns don't even require a permit around here. Some require a cursory application where they want to know where the building will be located in relation to the house and any other outbuildings that might be, or setbacks, sidelines, back lines. Those sometimes run up to $50 to $100 for a permit. I've heard some of you folks say that sometimes their permits are like the cost of what this garage is. It's incredible. Like out in California, apparently it's really expensive out there to build. And it varies by location. We have, even though we're a colder climate up here in New England, more northern New England, actually, northern Vermont, our cost of living is lower than, say, in Massachusetts or over in the UK. I don't even know what your pricing is over there. I think it's probably more expensive than here. Not sure. Anyway, just so I don't ramble, I want to talk about, well, I'll leave this up here. Let's start with concrete cost. And what I want to talk about is, I'm going to call it pre-COVID, about 3 years ago, maybe pushing 4 years ago, and compared to right now, 1st of March, 2023. Concrete, pre-COVID, was around $130 per cubic yard for a 3,000 PSI mix. That's commonly what we use. Today, it's $165 a cubic yard. We, in a typical two-car ranch, will use about 12 cubic yards of concrete. So at that rate, you're $400 or so more than it was 3 years ago. That has not gone down. Concrete just constantly, they're pretty consistent, at least. They don't jump way up. They do, I think 2 years ago they did a price increase 2 or 3 times in a year, which is really unusual. Typically it's this time of year, they're going to raise the price for the year and they're done. As far as I know, it's $165 per cubic yard. Rebar is somewhere around $10 a stick for a 20-foot half-inch rebar. 3 years ago, it was 6 or 7, maybe even 5. I guess it was even down to 5. So that's the steel aspect. It's still up. Excuse me. I am getting over this COVID. I feel really great. I'm not coughing nearly as much as I was, and I feel better. So, okay, so you have the concrete, you have the rebar. We usually use wedge anchors instead of anchor bolts cast into the concrete. It's easier for us the way we do it because we can set the walls and we can move them around, and once we get them exactly where we like them, we'll drill and set in a wedge anchor. So, and we'll move on to 2x4s, studs, 8-footers. 3 years ago, they were just under $3 per stick. Today, they're $3.35. So it's up about 10% higher than what it was 3 or 4 years ago. It had reached more than double that. It was $7 or $8 per stick. So it's gone down, but it's still higher than. And that's the same with pressure treated. We use pressure treated plate on the bottom for our sill plate, and when we put a foam sill seal, the foam sill seal is kind of an almost negligible cost. It's maybe $6 or $8 for a roll to do the entire perimeter of a garage, something like that. So then we have the top plates. They're generally 12-footers. 2x4 12s are $7.22. They were probably down around $5 or a little less 3 or 4 years ago. Then we have the wall sheathing. We typically use 7/16 OSB, and 3 or 4 years ago that was $7 a sheet, maybe $8, somewhere in that range. Currently, it's it's 50% more. It's about $11 a sheet. It had reached a high of in the mid-30s per sheet, which was huge. That was just a big jump. And then the roof sheathing, we use 19/32 or 5/8 CDX, and 3 or 4 years ago that was $18 or so a sheet, and currently it's around $33 a sheet. So that's still up there pretty good, but it's way down from the 80 plus per sheet that it was a couple of years ago, or last year even. Maybe not last year. About a year ago it was up there. So house wrap is still around $110 for 1,000 square feet of it, which will typically do one garage. That hasn't changed a lot. It's maybe 10% more than where it was 3 or 4 years ago. Roof wrap is somewhere in the $60, $70 per roll, and that's a 1,000-foot roll, and that will easily do one garage. And that hasn't gone up significantly. Maybe 10%. Seems like a lot of this stuff is up 10%, or it's still double. Garage, or what we use for windows are a 3-foot wide by 4-foot high double hung vinyl low E tilt-in top and bottom window. They're currently around $335 per window, whereas 3 or 4 years ago they were around $200. So that's more than 50%, 60% higher than what it was. Steel, actually we don't use steel entry doors. We use typically fiberglass 9-light 3068s for a 2x4 wall. They are around $400 including the lock set, whereas 4 years ago they were $230, something like that. Garage doors, 9x7 insulated with a skin on the inside, 12-inch radius track, torsion spring. 4 years ago they were $600. Today they're around $1,100. So that's still almost double. They're still quite expensive. Vinyl siding has gone, that's still up pretty good. 4 years ago it was around Sorry for all these numbers. If you guys are zoning out on this, I'm sorry. I just wanted to go over where most every product is at as far as just understanding why this price. So vinyl siding 4 years ago was maybe $80 a square per 100 square feet, 10 by 10. Today it's around $130 per 100 square feet, or per square. On an average ranch garage, we'll use about 10 square, just as a reference. Coil stock, we use coil stock we bend it for our fascia all the way around to trim out our garage door openings. We'll typically use about a roll of coil stock, maybe a little more, and that's gone up 20% probably. I think it's around $120 per roll for coil stock, as compared to previously it was under 100, maybe in the 90s. Metal roofing has gone up quite a bit. It was about $1.25 per square foot on average 4 years ago, 3 years ago. Today it's around $2 per square foot. So it's almost double from where it was. And that's the same with accessories like J channel, F channel, undersill, starter strip, all of that. It's gone up proportionately about that same amount. Trusses. Trusses are, as far as I know, I haven't heard lately, like I haven't heard in the past month. 4 years ago, they were $130, $120, somewhere in there, for a standard 512 roof pitch with a 1 foot overhang on each side. They were around $120, $130 each, including the gable ends are more. But so for a garage set where you'd get 11 and 2, 11 regular trusses, 2 gables, it averaged to around that $120. Today they're about $220 each. So it's almost double, pretty close. And I haven't heard that that's going down. And the reason for some of that is some of the peripherals outside of actual building materials. Labor. We have to live as well as you. I mean, it's a direct cost. Food is like sky high. Gas is still high. Some of those other heating fuel. If you're electric has gone up quite a bit. A lot of our tools are battery operated, and so the tools aspect have gone up. Batteries are terrible expensive. Used to be you could buy like a 4.0 amp hour battery, for $50. Now they're $100. So fortunately, we don't buy a lot of batteries. We pretty much have all we need. Whew. Wow, that's a lot of numbers. So I'm going to sum this up, if you don't mind, and let you folks go about whatever you were doing. So the current price, $26,975, is about 55% higher than it was 4 years ago. Whoa, that sounds like a lot. A lot of people think, well, a garage is just 2x4s, but obviously there's a lot more to it than that. The 2x4s alone are only up from 4 years ago, 10 or 15%. Sheet goods, plywood is up almost double. Concrete's up 40%. Rebar's double. Windows are 55 to 60%, which is close to what our increase is. I guess that would be the closest relative factor, but the labor costs is really more because we're having to cover our living expenses beyond just a garage. So that has a big input to what this number is. So I feel fortunate that we're not having to go up anymore, but until we see all these peripheral costs go down, food, clothing, shelter, transportation is really up, and those little things on the side drive up what the garage price is. So, surprise! The prices are staying the same. Okay, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video on garage prices for 2023. I really hope they stay right where they are, or somehow, if everything else can go down, we can go down. But I don't see that happening. All right, thanks again. Have a great day. We'll see you later.